Somebody grab him some chicken. This fucking guy is fat. How the fuck he gon' beat me? And Volkov just put this guy on his back. I hope you know no one is scared of you, especially not DC. And you can call me Daniel Cormier or Double Chips. You know you cannot beat me. And yeah, I'm talking to Lewis. If you wanna scrap, we can do this. I know that you're black, I know you're a beast. I know that you're fat and you're stupid. I'm back on my bullshit and lacking my cool. At UFC 230, I'll spaz on this fool. He's not gonna beat me cause he's lacking the tools. This nigga can't breathe when he splash in the pool. No cardio, hope. And it's probably gonna show when I take him down and I beat him up, cause that's all that I know. They call me Daniel Cormier. Yeah, I'm coming to defend my title. If he think that he can beat me, then this motherfucker's psycho. Bitch, I'm gone. I'm sick of your bad back and you're still fat. Let's talk about it. I'm sick of you being black and wearing MAGA hats. Let's talk about it. I'm sick of you getting smashed and then coming back. Let's talk about it. Or we can get dirty at UFC 230 and you can get sparked about it. I'm sick of your bad back and you're still fat. Let's talk about it. I'm sick of you being black and wearing MAGA hats. Let's talk about it. I'm sick of you getting smashed and then coming back. Let's talk about it. Or we can get dirty at UFC 230 and you can get sparked about it. Yeah, they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish and they wishing on me. It's Tony time, bitch, I don't care who's fucking with me. Staying away from tiramisu's a struggle for Khabib. You don't wanna fight, you wanna cuddle with me. My elbows are knives and I'ma cut you with these. I don't really give a fuck who's with me. If this fat fuck will make weights a big mystery. If you were smart then you would probably pick me to submit Khabib at UFC 223. To submit Pettis at UFC 229. Tony time, Tony time. I knock out, sometimes I choke. I might be the lightweight GOAT. If my leg didn't get broke, would've probably beat Khabib. Then moved up and fought with Lee. Either wait for GSP. You don't wanna mess with me. Tony time, Tony time. I knocked out some.
Best welterweight in the world. Oh God. Right back on your neck. Y'all in trouble. Look. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat him on Gato. Talk slick, move quick like a vato. One hand behind back with my eyes closed. You can't fuck with me, yeah, I know. Look, I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat him on Gato. Talk slick, move quick like a vato. One hand behind my back with my eyes closed. You can't fuck with me, yeah, I know. Look,
I'll beat him like a black belt. If a nigga fuck with me, then he assed out. I'ma sit his ass down, back against the wall, then I max out. If you want smoke, I'm a gas cloud. No time for you class clowns, cause my bitch got her ass out. And she wiggling, wobbling, and she moving it, and she shaking it for me. And now these niggas getting mad now, probably cause they salty and they jealous cause they really ain't been making no money. Hold up. Let me go on and switch my flow up. That's why everybody know us. Cause we throw 'em from the shoulders like some motherfucking soldiers. And I thought we fucking told ya. We ain't choose this life, it chose us. We do you like a pipe and smoke ya. Pause. I don't wanna talk, I just wanna break your jaw.
I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass.
We have been preparing for war. Bravo 12!
They call me Conor McGregor, there's no one better. I'ma fuck Khabib up, then go rematch Floyd Money Mayweather. If this dog shit Dagestani thinks he can stand with me, I'll damage him and leave him panicking. Let Russia know I am the king. I don't like you, won't even pretend to try to. I've waited this long to fight you. You shouldn't have fucked with my crew.
We have been preparing for war.
You ambushed Artem Lobov in the hotel lobby, so we went and called game. Now I'm coked up off of Molly, so I'm coming to the stage. And I think that you should probably stay the fuck up out my way. Somebody get me a dolly.
You really think you're gonna enjoy with me? You can say, hey, you have a problem with my brother, you give him slap, now you have to give answer.
Bravo 12!
You think whiskey gonna help you?
Yo, Conor McGregor, what the fuck is wrong with you? Come here, let me smash you like chicken, just let me humble you. take all these drugs, but you won't take home a W. If we fight in UFC or if we fight with guns and crews. No, let me stop it, you don't want me to take it there. If you want, you can take a Bearson location and I'll be there.
Ask these nuts.
This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel-biting, bagel bitch boy, bagel bitch back.
What is going on, full-time family? It's a little early, but that's because we don't got much time. So I said, maybe we got to go live early because we got a lot to talk about. What's been going on, everybody? Let's get the chat up. Salute to Stockton Slaps on the remaster there, man. Delivering packages tuned in, says BJ Johnson. Hey, man, make sure you don't deliver package to people's neighbors because, man, you got people on the coon out here, if you know what I'm saying. Now, my package got stole the other day. What's going on, BJ Johnson? But we got that shit taken care of. I'm him, 247 says, sup, full-time fam. Y'all good? Damn, I'm up early this morning. Jason Humphrey says, Stockton, motherfuckers. What's going on, Stockton? Jefferson alive. Why you snapping at the big homie, DC? I'm black and MAGA all day. Oh, snaps. Alan Clark says, Tony time. Sick of you getting smashed and coming back. Let's talk about it. Mr. Perfect 2005 in the building. What's going on, everybody? Top of the morning to you all. Cam Murphy, J Skills in this thing. Forward. Come by to drop a like and pay my respects. Yo, appreciate it. If you guys haven't finished biting your bagels, do your boy a favor. All right, salute to the chat. Salute to the full-time family. After you smash that like button, I'm about to be getting to the news. We got a lot to talk about. We only got about an hour and a half. And honestly, if I didn't have to go to work in a few hours, this could probably be a fucking 3-hour stream because there's a lot to talk about here. But we're pretty much just going to go through it, and I'll give you guys some of the current events going on in MMA. Keep the full-time family updated if you haven't had the time. So let's get into it. First of all, well, there's a report. This is more of a rumor. We're going to talk about this after. There's a rumor that Conor McGregor versus Paulie Malignaggi in boxing is actually being discussed, but it's surface level. It might just be opening talks. It's not very official at all. So we'll talk about that, but we're not going to put much stock into it. Just smashed it like Khabib, says Mr. Perfect 2005. Smash that like button. Like your middle name is Khabib. Thank you very much. Salute to the OGs. L-Dub Cam says forward. Yo, salute. So Conor McGregor, though, he's coming out and he's blasting Firas Zahabi, who, if you didn't know, if you've been living under a rock, or if you're just super new to the sport, actually, it's probably if you're super new to the sport if you don't know who Firas Zahabi is. It's George St. Pierre's coach. And George St. Pierre's coach recently did an interview on his YouTube channel, and he was being asked about a potential rematch between Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. And he just gave his thoughts on the fight. Firas Zahabi said he thinks Max Holloway will probably win the rematch. He said in the first fight, both fighters have grown a lot since then, but Max Holloway has tremendously, potentially became the greatest featherweight of all time, and he's also remained active. And he said he feels like Max Holloway's cardio would come into play in the second fight, and it would potentially allow him to win, given his thoughts on a potential matchup. You know, if somebody would have asked, what do you think about Cain Velasquez versus Jon Jones? He would have gave his thoughts. If he would have asked, what do you think about Anderson Silva versus Israel Adesanya? He would have gave his thoughts on the fight. And if the loser takes it personal, that's on them. But I mean, what do you do? Just not give, not make a prediction because you think the loser. So Conor McGregor saw the prediction and he got upset. He sent out this tweet. He said, "Hey Firas, young man afraid to get in and fight himself. Stop talking about me like you know me, you twerp. You're what age? Why are you not in there yourself? Are you not up to it? You rent dorms and hit a clock for a living. Shut your pie, kid." He meant shut your pie hole, clearly. But this is my thing. Wasn't Conor McGregor a plumber? Wasn't his dad a plumber? Didn't you used to punch a clock? Didn't your father punch a clock? Like, you know what I'm saying? I thought that was part of the Conor McGregor story, that you used to punch a clock, right? You used to be a plumber, got into MMA, eating blueberries. So, I mean, taking shots there at somebody giving their opinion on a fight. And it's a coach of one of the greatest fighters of all time. It's not like Firas Zahabi is just some kid coming in from fucking Missouri top team talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Or some coach from Missouri top team. This is a coach from TriStar and a coach of one of the greatest fighters of all time. So it's not like Firas doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's what I'm saying. No matter how much information you have on the sport, you can be Joe Rogan, you can be Firas Zahabi. There's going to be fighters that don't like your opinion, and they say, "Oh, it's because you're not a fighter." But I guarantee you, there's other fighters that feel the exact same way. Other fighters feel the exact same way. I bet you if you asked Jose Aldo, or even someone that's not probably going to be biased, just ask someone like, not Brian Ortega. Okay, let's ask a lightweight. Let's ask like fucking RDA. Anybody. Just ask a fighter who they think would win out of Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. And if they're not biased, a few of them will probably pick Max Holloway. Right now, they would pick Max Holloway, and they have fought. So you can't discount somebody's opinion just because they haven't fought. You know what I'm saying? If they pay attention to the sport, if they're analysts, especially someone like Firas Zahabi, who's coached one of the greatest fighters of all time. So, with that being said, Conor McGregor took a little bit of offense to that, fired shots at GSP's coach. But with that, what's next for Conor McGregor? If he wants smoke, maybe he wants to fight GSP. Oh, Jason Humphrey's getting timed out early. My shorts are looking. Jason Humphrey getting timed out. Better chill. Mod Squad on deck. Bayow. Cam Murphy says he isn't a plumber. His dad isn't a plumber. He was. Well, tried. That's what I'm saying, but he used to. He tried, right? And Conor, I'm pretty sure. I watched the documentary, heard the story. When he was coming up his father was a plumber. Wasn't Conor a plumber? Or Conor tried to be a plumber, right? You said his dad wasn't a plumber. He was. Okay, he tried. So Conor tried to be a plumber, you're saying, not his dad. I hear what you're saying, Kim. You're saying his father wasn't a plumber. But either way, that Conor, if he was a plumber, motherfucker, you used to punch a clock. What are you saying? And like I said, Firas Zahabi is one of the greatest coaches, arguably, of all time. And we're going to talk about greatest coaches of all time today because I really want to talk about Dean Thomas. Dean Thomas, I feel like, is underrated, like, extremely. We all know, and TriStar hasn't been mentioned as much, but they're up there too. The greatest fight teams and fight camps as of late have been American Kickboxing Academy and American Top Team, AT&T, AKA. But also TriStar. With GSP, they've always been up there too, but as of late, they haven't been as much of a spotlight. You got the Elevation Fight Team coming up. But American Top Team, they've been doing some phenomenal things. Tyron Woodley, even Colby Covington, as much as the whole shtick is just you just want to throw it in the fucking trash and just ignore Colby Covington. And as much as all that, he's a great wrestler, great fighter. He's beat some high-level guys, made it all the way to that interim champion. Not just, you look at Amanda Nunes, greatest female fighter of all time. You just look at a lot of American top team fighters. We could point at Kayla Harris and some of the up-and-comers, but we're going to actually look at a lot of their fighters later to show more of who they have in their stable, on their roster. But boy, you never really hear about AT&T's coaches or ATT's coaches. We know about Javier Mendez over at AKA, but we never really hear about the coaches at ATT much. And with that being said, I think Dean Thomas goes a little underrated. Right now, he's got two of arguably the greatest fighters of all time that he coaches and spends significant time with. Amanda Nunes and Tyron Woodley are fighters that he coaches significantly. He plays a significant role in their training camps, and you see where they're at right now. So Dean Thomas is a motherfucker. And he was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast as well, so make sure you guys check that out. But yeah, so moving on from Conor blasting Firas, McGregor, there's a report saying McGregor is in negotiations to return to boxing for a grudge match with Paulie Malignaggi. Now, to me, this is more of a rumor because I haven't seen it officially reported by anybody aside from a couple people on Twitter. And I know a verification doesn't mean everything because you can't really just say, oh, if you're verified, you're truth, and anyone that's unverified is lying, because that's not the case. But the only two sources I have seen reporting these negotiations are the ones cited in this source, which are Boxing Kingdom on Twitter and Diz and Indy on Twitter. Both of these people are journalists, and potentially just not verified, but I'm just saying I haven't really seen it on any big websites like that. So, but it's just opening talks anyways, if it was. Now, so let's entertain the idea. What do you think about a Conor McGregor versus Paulie Malignaggi boxing match? I think fucking Paulie Malignaggi is going down, if you ask me. If you ask me, Paulie McDougal's is going down. Don't do this. I'll get fired up for this fight. I don't even watch boxing like that, and I've tried recently. I'm sorry, man. I was watching that Deontay Wilder, and it was a heavyweight fight. Whenever the knockdown in the 12th, I was like, oh shit, here we go. We got something going on. Boxing ain't for me. But you telling me we got McGregor versus motherfucking Paulie McDougal's? I'm watching that one. And I honestly, man, I'm tuning in for the main event. I can't watch the undercard. I'll tell you right now. But Paulie Malignaggi is not motherfucking Floyd Mayweather. Y'all thought I learned how to say his name. No. He's not Floyd Mayweather. He's not one of the greatest boxers of all time. I mean, let's put this in perspective. Conor McGregor went 10 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. If he had a little bit better cardio, he could have went the full 12. No homo. I mean, no hetero. He could have went the full 12 with Mayweather. And if he did, now take what McGregor did against Mayweather. Pretty impressive. Especially when you consider what Mayweather just did to poor little Tenshin Nasukawa. You see what happened to that boy when he got in the ring with Mayweather in 3-minute rounds? That man was springboarding across the ring. Mayweather, so clearly McGregor's got some boxing skills. We all knew that already. I mean, just from the Mayweather fight, going into it. That's why anyone even considered the fight. Conor's always been more of a striker, and you know what I'm saying? So that's why people entertain Conor as a boxer. And against Floyd Mayweather, the greatest boxer of all time, he made it to the 10th round. So I hear people, oh, Conor has no chance in boxing. I'm sure that them people are out there. Wrong. This is fucking... When's the last time Paulie fought? I've never heard, and I don't... Just as a casual boxing fan, you still hear about the greatest fighters of all time. The Muhammad Ali, the motherfucking Mike Tysons, the George Foremans, the Sugar Ray Robinsons, all of that. You hear about when you talk about greatest fighters of all time, we still all know them. Paulie McDougal's was not on my radar before he went and had the whole Conor McGregor fiasco. I never heard of the guy. Not mentioned in the greatest fighters of all time. It just wasn't there. Why? Because he's not one of the greatest boxers of all time. And so, take Conor McGregor versus a boxer that, yeah, they were good. He got a title or something. Sure, I'm sure he was good in his day. But he ain't been fighting like Floyd. He ain't been active like Floyd. He ain't training like Floyd. I mean, they could make it happen. It's a grudge match. If Conor wants to box, fuck it, box Paulie. Get paid. You already whooped him once in the gym. Get paid to do it. Everybody still wants to see it. But as I said, it's just rumors, it's just reports, so not going to spend too much time on it. But I'm just saying, McGregor versus Malignaggi would be interesting. Now, personally, of course, I would rather see McGregor fight MMA, always, but it's not always about, you know what I'm saying, that Conor's going to make the best decision for him. And would you be open to McGregor versus McDougal's in boxing? I would entertain it. I think it'd be more even than a McGregor versus Mayweather, or even McGregor versus Khabib, the rematch, if that was immediately. I mean, if it's not going to be McDougal's, it needs to be like Nate Diaz. Either way, it'd be interesting to see when Conor McGregor returns who he chooses. He's still got the options. Uh-oh, let me get that. Oh, that's your phone. Dismiss. Yeah, your alarm went off. Alright, my bad, y'all. That alarm was going off. Alright, moving on to the next topic. Cain Velasquez on Jon Jones fight. He says, I'll try to make that happen. We're going to talk about Jon Jones versus AKA. Just talked about American Kickboxing Academy is one of the greatest fight teams on the planet. They've produced many champions and a lot of fighters who even consider some of the greatest of their respective division all time. Khabib considered one of the greatest lightweights of all time. Cain Velasquez considered one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Daniel Cormier, greatest of all time. And then Luke Rockhold was definitely a phenomenal middleweight and became the middleweight champion. So, and they've got a lot of other fighters over there, like Eagle Fight Team, that train with Khabib, and I think a lot of them are probably in the PFL and stuff that are fucking shit up. So they've got a great fight team over there as well. But Jon Jones, he's got the rivalry with Daniel Cormier, and that could splash off into a little, fight with Luke Rockhold. That would add to that, right? At light heavyweight. Now that Luke Rockhold's coming up to light heavyweight, you could see Luke Rockhold versus Jon Jones. Cain Velasquez versus Jon Jones. All these motherfuckers want to beat up Jon Jones, and you know why, right? Because Daniel Cormier is their motherfucking brother. They've seen Jon Jones was the only person to ever beat him. Knocked him out, failed the drug test. They probably feel some type of way. Any one of these guys versus Jon Jones is like a grudge match in itself. Because none of these dudes like Jon Jones. And they're all around the same divisions. So we could see Rockhold versus Jon Jones now that he's at light heavyweight. We could see Cain Velasquez versus Jon Jones if Jon Jones steps up to heavyweight, which is really what I want to see. I'm sorry. I actually think it's kind of bullshit, the idea that so many people are entertaining this fight at light heavyweight. Jon Jones versus DC at light heavyweight. I don't want to see it. I've seen it twice. I mean, and I can't guarantee a clean drug test. If I wanted to see it again at light heavyweight, I want it to be level playing field, no ifs, ands, or USADA buts. None of that shit. I don't want no picograms if it's at light heavyweight. But from what we've been told, and if you haven't seen it yet, Mixed Molly Whoppery, the YouTube channel, did a amazing video on the Jon Jones USADA. It's called like the Pringles defense. I checked that out like a couple days ago, and he broke it down. But regardless, USADA is saying it's pulsing. It could potentially be in there. They don't know how long it could be in there. So then why the fuck do I want to see him? I don't want to see him fight DC if you're telling me he's not going to be 100% clean. Because we've seen that twice. Okay, he'll probably win then. Unless Jon Jones fucking comes in 100% clean and is, yeah. Where I want to see it is heavyweight. That's where Daniel Cormier is undefeated. That's where no one's ever beat him. That's where he's the current heavyweight champion. That's where he knocked out Stipe Miocic. And so if Jon Jones does make the move to heavyweight, there's another fight we'd like to see. Cain Velasquez, who's just got announced his return to the UFC, taking on, who's he fighting? Francis Ngannou? Who the fuck is Cain Velasquez fighting? I think he's fighting Francis Ngannou. I don't know which card, but they're fighting. Jay Skills says Anthony Smith might be a problem for Jon Jones. And I'm glad you brought that up, Jay Skills, because with all these other potential Jon Jones fights, Luke Rockhold, Cain Velasquez, Daniel Cormier, everything on his plate, he could very easily look past Anthony Smith and get knocked the fuck out. Like Debo on Friday. Jon Jones, and I wouldn't be surprised if DC came in like Ezel. You got knocked the fuck out. He didn't do it, but oh well. He got you back for me. Anthony Smith is Craig. DC is Ezel. You got knocked the fuck out. That'd be crazy if DC was commentating. DC's commentating the fucking Anthony Smith Jon Jones fight. Anthony Smith knocks him out. DC throws off his fucking headset. You just hear you hear the headset drop. Fucking DC scales the fence. You got knocked the fuck out. Oh, that would be crazy. Yo, that's a good point though. Jay Skills. Luke Rockhold believes Jon Jones is trying to manipulate Daniel Cormier back down to light heavyweight, but actually DC is one that has entertained this idea as well. DC wanted it back at light heavyweight. One of the reasons they couldn't main event Madison Square Garden is because they both wanted to fight each other at light heavyweight, and they couldn't make the weight on short notice. So it was like, oh, okay, well, there goes that idea for Jon Jones. I guess they wanted to fight at light heavyweight. Or at least DC wanted to fight Jon Jones at heavyweight, and yeah, they both wanted to fight each other at light heavyweight because DC fought on the card at heavyweight, but he wouldn't have been able to make light heavyweight on that notice and fight Jon Jones. So with that being said, Luke Rockhold, he believes Jon Jones is trying to manipulate DC back down to light heavyweight as if he's potentially ducking the fate at heavyweight. And like I said, man, I'm with Luke Rockhold. I want to see it at heavyweight. Jon Jones recently said, I know there's a guy who's been calling himself champ. I mean, what guy just gives up his belt because somebody else made it home? Daddy's home, DC. He's trying to make DC sound like he ran from the light heavyweight division. He was scared of him at light heavyweight. He didn't want to lose at light heavyweight. And what Luke Rockhold is saying, Jon Jones doesn't want the fight at heavyweight. He said Jon Jones don't want that fight. He said Jon Jones does not want to fight with DC at heavyweight. He doesn't want to give him any advantage. He's obviously doing what he can to build his confidence to fight at light heavyweight. We all know he's tested dirty twice in a row now. 3 times? I don't know. It is what it is. Picograms or whatever the hell they are. He's obviously compensating, trying to do something to build himself up. He's a DC at heavyweight is much more dangerous fighter. He's looser. He's moving people. I've seen him in the gym. Jones picked his words wisely on the mic. He's trying to bait DC to come back down and manipulate him back to light heavyweight. Jones walked around at 240. DC walks around at 240. Fight where you are. He said, you're the baddest man on the planet. Stop trying to pick off guys like Anthony Smith and stop talking about DC, the champ. Go up, fight the champ, where he's at and where he's the baddest man on the planet. You want to talk about it? Go up there and fight him. Otherwise, stay where you're at, and I'll come to you. Luke Rockhold, hey, I like that last part. He said, otherwise, stay where you're at, and I'll come to you. Okay, if you don't want to go fight DC, where he's the baddest man on the planet at heavyweight, I'll come up to light heavyweight, and I'll handle DC's light work, picograms and all. That's what I'm talking about. Jon Jones versus AKA. I mean, I would watch him fight any of these dudes. I think that would be big. Luke Rockhold, AKA DC at heavyweight. Fuck it. Khabib. Get one of Jon Jones' little homies on Khabib. Or Khabib on one of Jon Jones' little homies. Who's a lightweight over at Jackson Wink? Who's over there? Diego Sanchez, he don't want it with Khabib, but I'm just saying. AKA versus Jackson Wink could be a thing. Mike Winkeljohn, speaking of Jackson Wink, harder kicks were the key to Jon Jones' win over Alexander Gustafsson. This is another one I'm not going to spend too much time on, but it's kind of like on the show a couple days ago where I said, what? Is Jon Jones' coach really coming out here and promising more finishes? When everyone knows he's got metabolites in his system regardless of how many? Like, it's just not a good look. Even if the science and USADA and the UFC and Jeff Novitzky and everybody is saying, listen, the amount in his system isn't enough to enhance his performance. Is it a good look to come out here and Jon Jones is going to get more finishes than ever? He's kicking harder than ever. Oh, really? Oh, really? Is he? Another thing like that, like, oh, Jon Jones is kicking harder, is he? Okay. You know what? Take them kicks up to heavyweight. I don't want to hear about what Jon Jones is doing bigger, better, faster, and stronger right about now. You know what I'm saying? But no, sticking with coaches, though, I did want to talk about American Top Team coach Dean Thomas. He recently joined Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he said he has no problem urging fighters to retire. You know, a lot of fighters, they don't like to be told when to retire, and especially, you know, by the media and whatnot. But Dean Thomas is a coach, and that's who you would, you know, think a lot of the time is someone that could convince a fighter or should be telling a fighter, hey, man, it might be time, or should be looking after their fighters. Like, hey, you ain't doing nothing but going out there, getting your eggs scrambled. I mean, you're not where you need to be. Your head's not in the right place. You're going to go out there and you're going to get fucking hurt. We need to look at something else we can do outside of fighting. You might fight 1 more time, 2 more times if you want, but you need to be starting to think about life outside of fighting. And Dean Thomas says he has no problems telling fighters shit like that. He says, I'm pretty honest with them. He said, I'm pretty honest. I'm like, man, this ain't for you no more. I always have to tell them if I feel like it's going to affect them physically and hurt them by continuing to fight, I tell them, you need to stop. He said, more often than not, they kind of listen. They kind of know they just need somebody else to say it. And I'm willing to tell them. I always try to tell them, and if they don't want to do it, I can't be a part of it. Saying, and if they don't want to take my advice, then I'm not going to continue to coach somebody that I think's going out there to hurt themselves. And that kind of reminds me of what John Kavanaugh said about Conor McGregor. Except for Conor McGregor's still way closer to his prime and not even, you know what I'm saying? Like, John Kavanaugh saying it when Conor's still in his fighting prime, potentially. Like, yo, unless it's a big fight, I can't be there in Conor's corner knowing that he could get hurt. You know, like, CTE is a real thing, and Conor only needs to fight the fights that make sense. It's like, bro, Conor's not some fucking 43-year-old that's got fucking 48 knockout losses. You know what I'm saying? He's not a dude that's got a 500 record that's slurring his words, and you're like, man, you need to slow down. Like, you're being super preventative, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, I guess props for that, but no, man. Like, you can't, if Conor calls you and says, I want to fight Tony Ferguson, you can't say, no, I will not go to war with you because I think you can possibly get hurt because CTE is real. So what are you saying? Tony Ferguson's about to beat me that bad? What the fuck do you think? Who do you think I am? You ain't going to go to war with me? That's different than what Dean Thomas is saying here. When a fighter's getting close to retirement, yo, I'll let him know. I've got no problem urging them to retire. But Conor's not someone you look at like, man, he might need to think about retiring. You know what I'm saying? John Doe says, punch that like button. Yo, if you haven't yet finished biting your bagels, do me a favor, smash that like button. It'd be much appreciated. Cadbury Hardwell says, there's still a little cocaine in the system, but guys, we're going to keep the show going. It's okay. I know, right? Wouldn't it be dope, like, if you could fail a drug test at work and they're like, oh, yeah, but it's not that much, so we're going to keep you. Whew, what the fuck are we doing these things for? Exactly. Good fighters get that payday and become way less game breddish, says Cadbury Hardware. All of them. All of them. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference. And that goes to Dean Thomas's next point. That's a great transition, Cadbury Hardware. Coach Dean Thomas breaking down 4 categories of mixed martial artists. 4 categories of mixed martial artists. And this is what he breaks it down into. He said, when I'm coaching guys, I have to identify early what I'm working with. Are you a fighter? Are you an athlete? Are you a competitor? Or are you an artist? He said, I put them into 4 different categories, and they all have to be trained different. This sounds like someone knows what the fuck he's doing. And by the way, if you don't see his results, greatest female fighter of all time, Tyron Woodley, making this case one of the greatest welterweights of all time for sure. So, with that being said, game bred, fighter. Nick and Nate Diaz, fighter. You know what I'm saying? Those are dudes that came up fighting because they needed the money and they were actually fighters. That's what they did. That's what they loved to do, and then they started getting paid for it. They're not people that seen the UFC as an opportunity and they said, I might be able to go fold some guys up, you know? Like, a lot of wrestlers are the athletes. They came over as wrestlers. You know, a lot of wrestlers, they're really good athletes, and then they become fighters. They start training their striking and stuff. But some wrestlers, you know, are athletes that actually transition and become fighters. Wrestlers are notoriously tough. They do embrace the grind. But some wrestlers don't evolve their striking, and they don't work on their jiu-jitsu as much as others. They don't dedicate their life to it, so they remain wrestlers. Those are the athletes. Now, a wrestler can become a fighter. You look at a Daniel Cormier and some of these guys that will stand and strike with you and have developed at least some striking in the pocket. You know, Daniel Cormier's got great clinch striking with the uppercuts, the hooks, all that shit. I mean, they do become fighters, but there's a lot of guys that are athletes. Now, artist, he lays out as a guy like a Ryan Hall. Like, I mean, to me, that might be like a Wonder Boy if you're looking at like a striker. Like, if they're not able to execute their art, then it can look like a shit show. It might be a real boring fight. But when it works, it's fucking beautiful. When Wonder Boy gets that, or Anderson Silva, I almost look at him like a fucking artist. Like, man, he's in there getting right out the way, and then when that counter shot works, oh, that's fucking art. Whew. But put him in a situation with a guy like Nick Diaz who ain't gonna play that bullshit game, and they know what you're doing. Like, no, you come at me, motherfucker. Lay down and, lay on the mat because they know you're just trying to wait on him. It might not look great because they're not gonna play your game. If you're Ryan Hall and you can't get your submission off, your win or loss might not look great. But man, if you can get that submission like he got against BJ Penn, which some argued was one of the submissions of the year, then it looks masterful. Or are you a competitor? Somebody that's out here competing. I mean, that might be I think of guys at Team Alpha Male. Like dudes like, yeah, there were probably some athletes too, but they weren't like D1 collegiate level wrestlers. Not a lot of them. The guys, I look like not the best guys at Team Alpha Male. Like they got some really good guys at Team Alpha Male. I'm talking about like the journeyman at Team Alpha Male. Those guys to me are like the competitors. Like dudes that want to fight because that shit is kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? And they just want to be fighters. I look at some of those dudes like competitors. But I think that's a dope breakdown. Bubba G says Hall broke some shit in BJ's leg. Yeah, I think he said he felt it snap. Mr. Perfect 2005 says they all talk about money. If all they talk about is money and want to pick fights, that's why people love Max. He's never asked for a specific opponent other than Khabib. Yeah, he hasn't. Not yet. And Khabib, that's why people they embrace him. But see, now Max, he got the belt and he didn't switch up. But is it because he didn't have the opportunity? Some fighters get the belt and they don't get opportunities like McGregor. Or they don't get power like Khabib, who beat McGregor. Tyron Woodley has wanted a money fight, and he's defended his belt against the number one contender probably more times than a lot of the active champions. There's not many champions that probably have as many title defenses against number one contenders as Tyron Woodley, whether he chose them or not. He didn't choose who he fought, but if it was up to Tyron Woodley, of course, he would have rather fought Nick Diaz, Conor McGregor, GSP, Michael Bisping. He would have got to rather fight one of those big money fights. He would have rather fought, somebody that would make him a household name. But he fought Darren Till, Damian Maia, Wonderboy twice. Now he's about to fight Usman, But yeah, some fighters don't get the opportunity. Max Holloway, he almost got to fight Khabib. But, I think Max Holloway, he gets a lot of respect because he doesn't call for the money fights. But if he did, I don't know if he would get them. If Max Holloway came out and said, man, fuck fighting the number one contender, I'm trying to get me a money fight, I don't think that would go well. So it's good that he doesn't. And I don't think he has the power, or it's not like he's beat McGregor when he was at the top of the game. Like Khabib, he's got a lot. He's got like Russia behind him on top of he beat McGregor, Max Holloway, not so much. Max Holloway's been calling for UFC Hawaii for about 5 years now. And Bellator took a Lima Lay McFarland to Hawaii before Max Holloway. So, you know what I'm saying? He don't have that power. So, might be wise to not call for money fights because you're probably not going to get him even if you do. Max vs. Conor would be a great match as well, full time. Yeah, I think so too. I think it'd be a great rematch. If that would be great business, the UFC might look at booking that fight because Conor does need a fight, I think, before he fights Khabib. It could be Max Holloway. It could be Dustin Poirier. It could be fucking Nate Diaz. I'd rather see all that than Paulie. But yeah, that's an option. And if Max Holloway was doing great business, the UFC might try and make that one. Mr. Perfect advice. Full-time, if Woodley would just keep quiet and continue to dominate, he would be sitting pretty like GSP and Silva. They both had to go crazy win streaks to get respect from both the UFC and the fans. Yep, he can just defend that belt, keep defending it, and he's kind of started to do that. It's kind of like in the early he was asking for the fights. He ain't really been asking lately. Like right now, he's still been handling this whole Usman situation well. He's not pulling out. He's not backing up. He took the fight with Usman. Oh. Like, I was kind of surprised. Like, oh, shit, Woodley just took this fight, and he didn't make up much of a fuss. Covington's ready to fight. He's not pulling, I'm the champion, I want to fight Covington. He's not pulling that. He's signed to fight Usman. I'm like, okay, Woodley. That's a tough fight. I think Usman is a tougher fight than Covington, 100%. And so Woodley's still taking the fight. If Woodley beats Usman, man, we got to start talking about greatest welterweight of all time, because that's a bad matchup for Woodley, honestly. Of all the guys Woodley's fought so far, Usman's not a great matchup. This is a dude that can put the pressure on you, make you use your... Like, if this dude can drag Woodley 5 rounds and not get tired. He don't get tired. Kamaru Usman's not a guy I look at, and like he doesn't have cardio issues. He could probably go 6 rounds. And he keeps the pressure. Like, this isn't a great matchup. And Woodley just took it. He didn't sit there and sit out and say, no, I'll only fight when I can fight Covington. And, you know, because the UFC pulled some weird shit I don't even like. Like, no one likes Covington, but he's the victim in this situation. It's like, thanks, UFC, for making fucking Colby Covington a victim somehow. You guys are awesome. No one likes Colby Covington, but you guys are just taking a title fight from him because you're mad he didn't take a fight on short notice. When the fuck did this ever happen before? Somebody that the UFC likes. Could you imagine the UFC turning on like fucking Paige Van Zandt or Mickey Gall or Sage Northcutt or one of these guys because they didn't take a fight when they were injured on short notice? Like, this is one of you guys like this guy. You guys have gave this guy's opportunities. You gave Colby Covington an interim title fight after talking all this shit when everybody hated him. You rewarded him. You've been rewarding Colby Covington for this bullshit. This is one of your guys. So he doesn't take a fight on short notice, and now you take his whole title fight? What the fuck? Like, it don't make much sense, but that's what they did. Okay. This is the real talk, bro. Get him, says Jason Humphrey. Oh, I'm not going to go too much on it because Colby Covington's like the victim now. Whatever. But in my opinion, Colby Covington got fucking saved. He got saved. And now they're talking about Colby Covington versus Darren Till. Yeah, that's not an easy fight, but boy, it's an easier matchup than Woodley or Usman, who both want to pulverize Colby. They both want to pulverize Colby. You're going to need 2 referees to pull those guys off of Colby. Don't put that little dude in there. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Do not let him referee that fight. Don't put the female referee in there for that one. You're going to need 2 referees. You need Big John, come back from Bellator, and Herb Dean in there. Because Usman and Woodley both want to pulverize Colby. So the UFC really saved Colby here. Even though they're mad at him. It's like, they're really saving him from himself. Honestly. They're saving him from himself. Both of these guys really want to fuck you up, Colby. So we're not going to give you the title fight. You already got your belt. You already got your picture with Trump. And if you listen to Colby's fucking interviews, oh yeah, I'm the UFC champion. I'm the champion. Blah, blah. Like, he literally treats that belt like the real belt. And he's the type of motherfucker that really probably has convinced himself he's the champion. So he's going to take that belt to Donald Trump. He's going to take it to the WWE. He's going to probably walk out with it when he fights Darren Till if that fight gets booked. He's probably literally going to walk out with that on his shoulder if he fights Darren Till. I'm serious. How crazy would that be? He walks out to the ring with his fucking interim belt that has been stripped damn near twice. Because now there's 2 fights since he won it. He's going to walk out with that thing when he fights fucking Darren Till. And, by the way, it's an easier matchup. Darren Till's nobody's easy matchup, but he's not half the fucking wrestler of Kamaru Usman or Tyron Woodley. Colby Covington has a lot better chance of laying on Darren Till and winning the fight. If he can, he's a big boy, but he's got a way better chance at that. Now, Darren Till's got a chance of knocking Colby Covington out, but, I mean, man, it's not the chance that we want. Kamaru Usman and Tyron Woodley got a way better chance of beating Colby Covington than Darren Till, in my opinion. So now Colby Covington gets a favorable matchup against somebody, and Darren Till still has to defend Brazil's honor because he still speaks Portuguese and lived in Brazil, so he's still fighting for Brazil, so he's still got a lot on the line. But it's not as much animosity as Woodley and Usman had. There's not as much, you know what I'm saying, venom from Darren Till. He's not really a guy that's like, man, I would rather fucking... He hasn't been laser focused on Colby. Usman and Woodley have been laser focused on fucking Colby up. And now he gets to not fight those guys. Because the UFC's mad at him. Wink, wink. No. He was just your boy. And now you're saving his ass and giving him this matchup, man? Okay. And Colby's, Dana White, if you got some fucking balls, you'll release me. Show everyone you got some fucking balls, Dana. You got some balls? He wants cut. Reverse psychology. You won't cut me, Dana. He knows Dana will cut him. He wants Dana to cut him. Holy shit, we got 5 in the super chat. El Chapo, €5 in the super chat. Yo, thank you very much, El Chapo. That's much appreciated, man.
Son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time
holding these alligators down. Woo! And that's a fitting super chat alert. Ric Flair. Because Colby Covington's trying to fucking go straight over to the WWE. Right where Ric Flair was from and make his own WWE legacy. You got some balls, you cut me, Dana. Cut me! What are you waiting for? Please cut me, Dana. Please cut me. He went home and fucking... He's trying to get the fuck out of Dodge. Because even if he beats Till, he knows Usman and Woodley, one of them still going to be there wanting that smoke. I'm not with that, man. I needed to see Colby versus Woodley or Usman, and we ain't getting that shit now. Nah. Moving on, though, staying on Dean Thomas, and Colby Covington is one of his fighters. Tyron Woodley, one of his fighters. Amanda Nunes, just one of the greatest. I think we need to start talking about Dean Thomas. When we talk about great coaches, when we talk about Firas Zahabis we shouldn't be talking about no damn Mike Winkeljohn if we ain't talking about Dean Thomas. I guess he owns his gym. But if we're talking about coaches and results, we need to talk about fucking Dean Thomas. I'm serious. We need to put a lot more respect on this dude's name. Way more. And don't wait until fucking 20 years after it counts. This dude is right here coaching world-class fighters to be the greatest of all time and shit. He's a part of the team. A big part of the team. Dean Thomas needs a lot more respect put on his name for what he's doing over at American Top Team. If he wasn't a good coach, Amanda Nunes and Tyron Woodley wouldn't train with this dude. They wouldn't be... People talk about Amanda Nunes in the past and some of her past losses and how far she's came as a fighter. A lot of that is because of American Top Team. What Kayla Harrison will do, a lot of that is because American Top Team. It's not just Dean Thomas by any means. By any means. I'm sure there's a few more coaches at American Top Team whose coaches, their coaches, they don't get as much shine. And maybe should they? Is it a coaches? They're not in it for the shine. But the coaches at American Top Team, cream of the crop, and Dean Thomas is one of them. Yo, Jason Humphreys, appreciate it. He said, I'll rep you from now on. Stockton for life. Yo, new member of the full-time family. If you haven't yet, Jason, hit subscribe. It would be much appreciated as well, brother. David C. says, Dean Thomas is a coach GOAT. I agree, 100%, man. He's coaching GOATs. And I'm talking current GOATs. I'm not talking 10-year GOATs. I'm not talking before USADA GOATs. I'm not talking felon test GOATs. I'm talking current GOATs that are not felon tests, that are winning fucking impressive fights, beating all #1 contenders. You know what I thought about today before this show? Amanda Nunes could literally wreck shop and just run the show in WMMA. She could literally go down to 125, fuck up Holly Holm, come up to 145, fuck up Megan Anderson, go down to 135, fuck up Caitlin Vieira, come up to 145, fuck up Kat Zingano. However she wants to get down, she can just boom, boom, beat them down, boom, boom, boom. Because I don't see nobody beating her. Really. She could literally boom, boom, boom. Who wants it next? 135, 145, 135, 145, boom, boom. And just whoop ass. Like we've never seen before. Who you want to fight me? What weight? 135 or 145? 145? Oh yeah, I get to eat better. I'm still gonna kick your ass. Nunes can literally just fuck everybody at like 135, 145, back and forth, back and forth. Shit, DC ain't even that's gonna be dangerous for him. 205. Like that's even hard for DC to do. I don't even know. Like he's done it, but is he just gonna be able to fucking beat every fucking contender? Every single heavyweight contender, every single light heavyweight contender he ain't gonna be able to do it as actively as Amanda, man. He's Amanda Nunes. Yeah, she's not fucking around. So with that being said, I wanted to look at some of the fighters, just for some of the people who might not know. Some of the fighters that are under American Top Team's roster, starting with the welterweights, because we know, of course, they've got the current welterweight champion and interim champ for a sec. So they had Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington. They actively had the welterweight and interim champions. So great welterweights. Jorge Masvidal. If you don't know about Jorge Masvidal, slap yourself. Go learn something. Thank me later. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, one of the greatest fighters of all time. And I'm talking about when you split it into fighters, when you split it into artists, when you split it into athletes, competitors, however you want to split it up. I'm talking about one of the fighters that got it out the mud. That's Gamebred Jorge Masvidal. That's why he's always going to be one of my favorite fighters. Epic. Great fighter, Jorge Masvidal. Thiago Alves. Santiago Ponzinibbio, definitely one of the better welterweights in the world. Sultan Aliyev. They got some guys over at PFL fucking shit up. Bellator. Douglas Lima was the Bellator champ. Anthony Martin on his way up. Been phenomenal. Magomed Karimov fucking shit up in the PFL. Ronan Carriero. And then there's a couple other guys. Sabah Hamasi, Haider Hassan. I mean, phenomenal. That's just the welterweights. And what that also means, like, this is just their welterweights. That means they have all these other world-class welterweights to train with. That means they're training with other high-level guys. If you're Douglas Lima, you're training with fucking Woodley and Masvidal and all these beasts. If you're Magomed Karimov, you're training with fucking studs. That makes you even better as a fighter. So that's their welterweights. I mean, women fighters. We can go to their women fighters because we know about Amanda Nunes. We know about Kayla Harrison, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Valerie Leitrenault, two of the greatest female fighters of all time already. One of the future ones. Nina Ansaroff, top 5 strawweight now. Amanda Ribas, Jillian Robertson, underrated, great grappler. Jessica Aguilar, put some respect on her name. WMMA pioneer. Mara Barella, Karina Dam. They got a lot of legit fighters. And iron sharpens iron, so that's also girls to train with there. I mean, literally, we could click on any one of these, and you're going to be like, holy shit. Light heavyweight. King Mo, Ilir Latifi, Thiago Santos, Alexander Rakic, Glover Teixeira, Gazimad Antigulov. I mean, do I need to keep going? All these just fucking pure studs and savages at American Top Team. High level. And so, yeah, man, put some respect on their coaches' names. Who are their coaches? I know there's more than just Dean Thomas, pro coaches. Let's check them out. Conan Silveira. Yeah, he definitely gets credit for Amanda Nunes. He's with Amanda Nunes a lot for sure. So Coach Silveira, he's the head coach. Put some respect on his motherfucking name. He's the head coach. Weren't they calling him like a crayonch? Oh, y'all better put some respect on Conan's name, Conan Silveira. He's a phenomenal head coach. Mike Brown. You hear about Mike Brown for sure. Dean Thomas. Steve Mocco. I mean, yeah, a lot of Thiago Alves. Okay, he's a striking coach over there. They got a roster of coaches too, man. All these dudes are beasts. You see him a lot. Phil Daru, the strength and conditioning coach. I see him a lot with Woodley and some fighters in the embeddeds and stuff. But yeah, man, they got some phenomenal coaches over at American Top Team, and Dean Thomas is one of them. Now, with that being said, little intermission, quick UFC Yankovic tune, because we're about to be talking about some Darren Till versus Colby Covington. for a quick second. So, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to UFC Yankovic. That would also be much appreciated. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Once we do, we're doing some sort of giveaway or something. Let's check it out. Darren Till's a bit fat, he can't make weight, and he's probably fucking racist, so I have to cave his face in. I'ma beat this motherfucker, he shouldn't even be in front of me. Got pushed up to the top, he want my spot, so now he's gonna meet a beast. I'm the chosen one, I hit like a loaded gun. That right when I throw you done, one strike and he's on the run, and I'm coming for you. Yeah, I'm coming for you, booger eating motherfucker. You could put roids in your boogers, but you still couldn't beat me, cause I'm one of the greatest and you can't see me like Stevie. And yeah, I'm coming for greatness. If they want to try me, come test me. And that's for Nick and Nate Diaz, Colby, you're even GSP, because I'm ready. And don't come in heavy, little bitch. I don't really want no friends. What's going on, full-time family? Yo, UFC is looking to add a welterweight fight between Darren Till and Colby Covington to UFC London. Now, this is Colby Covington's punishment fight, right? This is his punishment. You know how we're gonna punish you, Colby? You didn't want to take a fight on short notice? We know, like, you and Dana White used to have a really good relationship. You're both Trump fans. You're both, he pulled strings for you. He got you opportunities. Your shit talk worked. I mean, all of that. But you know how we're going to punish you? By not making you fight Usman or Woodley. Best punishment ever. What? What'd you say? That's like fucking punishing your fucking kid by, making them go outside and play instead of doing the dishes. Like, Darren Till's no walk in the park, but there's not the same amount of vitriol and animosity and heat and anger built up in this kid as Woodley and Usman, who just want to fucking pound this guy. You know it's bad when Kamaru Usman says, I would rather fight this guy than fight for the belt, and he's this close to the belt. You know it's bad. If you want to, how about this? You want to fucking punish Covington, make him fight Usman, right? But you need a title fight. That's the only reason that didn't work, because they need a title fight. But make him fight Usman. Don't give him a title fight. Make him fucking fight Kamaru Usman. That's a punishment. Don't save him from him and Woodley and shit on the fans. It's like we're being punished for Colby Covington here too. Oh, Colby didn't want to fight on short notice with sinuses, so we don't get to see him get his ass whooped. Like, we're getting punished here too. So now if Colby Covington beats Darren Till, some punishment that was. Like, is he going to fight for the title next? Unless you're never giving him a title fight, I'm not rocking with this. But Darren Till, though, he's a dangerous fighter, and he could knock Colby out if he can avoid being taken down in the fight. He can definitely knock Colby out. He's got some dangerous knees as well. Put him in that Muay Thai clinch. Colby's coming in, fuck around, and knee him in the face. Some shit like that, and it just KO Colby. He's got the potential. He's got the power. He's got the size to potentially give Colby Covington's grappling some problems. Colby Covington's going to be coming in clearly in this one and trying to take Darren Till down. I bet you Colby Covington don't come in here and strike with Darren Till like he did with Damian Maia. Oh, you fought Damian Maia and it was boring. At least when I fought him, it was entertaining. Yeah, because you decided to fucking strike with Damian Maia and he engaged with you. Like, I bet you don't do that with Darren Till. You decided to box up Damian Maia, and he was still boxing you up, actually. Damian Maia was getting the better of Colby Covington with some of them boxing exchanges. You decided to box with Damian Maia so everyone didn't boo you? Do that with Darren Till. Show us you're confident in your hands, and it's not just because you were going against Damian Maia. Try and stand up with Darren Till. Do us that favor. I guarantee you he comes in here just trying to hold Colby against the fence, trying to lay on him, trying to fucking take him down, and trying to get the win that way. He's not going to stand up with Darren Till, bro. I'm not excited about a Colby Covington fight if I'm not expecting him to just get completely fucked up. I don't want to see Colby win. I want to see him lose. So don't give him a good fucking matchup. Make him fight one of the dudes that he's been pissing off. Usman. Make him fight Woodley. Sick punishment. Sick punishment. Chris Taylor says, I'm told the UFC is looking to book a welterweight fight between Colby Covington and Darren Till for UFC London on March 17th. Covington has recently stated that he will hold out for his promised title shot so we can all see what happens. Now, Covington's saying he's going to hold out because he's saying he's supposed to get the title shot afterwards. Like, if the UFC just punished you, like, why do you think you're going to get an immediate title shot? Like, if they're upset with you now, you might not get a title shot. A lot of people, if the UFC don't fuck with you, you're not getting a title shot. So, I'm convinced. If Colby Covington gets an immediate title shot, the UFC just did him a favor. If he seriously gets a title shot after Usman versus Woodley, they just did him a favor. They just had like Usman or Woodley. That way Covington don't have to fight both of them. You know, it's kind of like if you got two really tough matchups, if they fight each other, it's kind of like sometimes a champion will be injured, and so the two number one contenders have to fight each other. Like, let's say when Michael Bisping was injured, and Whitaker had to fight Romero again, or Whitaker had to fight Romero. It's like, well, if you're Michael Bisping, that means you don't have to fight one of those guys. That what that does is when Whitaker beats Romero, now Romero can't say he's next for the title because he's coming off of a loss. So if you're Bisping, I'm just saying if you really didn't want to fight Romero, and I'm sure Bisping would have because I put respect on Bisping's name. I'm actually a fan of Bisping. But I'm saying if you're looking at those two number one contenders and they're both fucking studs, they're both dangerous, they're both tough fights, Romero and Whitaker. But now that Whitaker beat Romero, you're only really looking at Whitaker. And if Bisping fought Whitaker and beat Whitaker, he could have still said, no, Romero, you just lost. So now, if Colby gets a title shot, let's say Woodley beats Usman. Now, Covington fights Woodley. If Covington becomes the champion, do you think he'll ever fight Usman? No, because Woodley just beat him, and he can always say, oh, you lost to Woodley, and I beat Woodley. I don't ever have to fight you. Oh, and if Usman wins, he's not ever going to fight Woodley. So we're not going to... So he doesn't have to go through the toughest road, because if he would have had to fight Woodley, Usman's still right on his fucking neck. You got to fight Woodley, then you got to fight Usman. If he would have had to fight Usman, you still got problems with Woodley. You'd have had to beat both of those guys. Now it's like Darren Till and then Woodley, instead of Usman and then Woodley. Or instead of Woodley and then Usman, it's like Till and then Usman. A little bit better matchup. So, I mean, Colby Covington's a little bit of a victim, but not much at all. I don't feel bad for Colby fucking Covington. I really feel like you got saved here, bro. Like, everyone's saying that Colby's the victim here. Yeah, because he lost the title shot, but he honestly got saved from an ass whooping. And if Colby Covington loses to Woodley, then there goes everything. Everything. As soon as Covington loses, his whole fucking shtick is out the window. Dude, you just got fucking smoked after talking all that shit. Don't nobody want to hear from you. We could have got this motherfucker out of here. Now he's going to be fighting Till. So, yeah, Colby Covington is a little bit of a victim here, but the UFC saved him from his fucking self. But they did take his title fight on some bullshit for a bullshit reasoning. That's true. They took Colby Covington's title for bullshit reasoning. Like, what? Because he didn't want to fight somebody on short notice when he was injured? What? You don't even do that to fighters you don't like. You don't expect a fighter to take a fight on short notice while they're injured. And if you don't do it, like, that seems like, so you're going to quote-unquote retaliate against Colby Covington? You're going to take his title fight away because he did this. So you're punishing Colby, not retaliating. He didn't do something to you. Well, didn't take the fight. I guess he didn't take the fight. But if short notice, for one, for two, the sinus thing. Even if you think the sinus thing was bullshit. If he went to the doctor and got surgery, I mean, there was something to it. He had some sort of sinus infection, whatever it was. So, I mean, to punish somebody for not taking a fight on short notice while they're injured, that's bullshit. So, yeah, Colby Covington is a victim in that sense, but he also kind of got saved from himself because I think he would have lost. And against Darren Till in London, still going to be a tough matchup because he's going to be in London. I'm sure my boy Stamina MC is going to be front row, tickets, Colby Covington Nerd Bash shirt, waiting to get it signed. Needing the signature. Boomerang, you want that signed. Like, I know my boy Stamina MC can't wait for Colby Covington to grace London. I'm sure he can't. Oh, I don't know anyone that hates Colby much more than Stamina. That's pretty funny. Cris Cyborg's coach says she beat herself at UFC 232. Now, sounds good. And there might be something to it. Especially, I mean, I'm sure even if you don't watch the NBA or keep up with the NBA, you know about the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry with the shot, Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers, Kevin Durant now, Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins just got cleared to play. What the fuck? That's like an all-star team. Not on one team. You know about the Warriors. Ridiculous. Doesn't make sense. They just broke like the all-time record for wins in a season. They beat the Bulls. Michael Jordan's record. But this season, they're not doing great. It's because they got some beef in the locker room, and Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, he called him a bitch, and then he called him a hoe, and then, so they're losing games to teams they shouldn't lose to, but they're beating themselves. They're clearly the better team, but they're beating themselves because all the bullshit behind the scenes. Cris Cyborg, it's not that clear here. So that's why I disagree a little. It's not that clear that she's not that much of a better fighter than Amanda Nunes. They're both great fighters. I think if you think Cyborg is light years beyond Amanda Nunes, you're underrating Amanda. They're both great fighters. They're both better than all of these other chicks. Cyborg's still one of the greatest female fighters of all time. But that don't mean she's better than Amanda. Maybe if Cyborg stayed behind her jab the whole fight and picked her apart, she could have won. Hindsight is 20/20, dog. And it ain't never looked clearer than right now. Cris Cyborg's boxing coach, Jason Perillo, is a phenomenal coach. We've seen some of the work he's done. I mean, whenever Michael Bisping knocked out Luke Rockhold, he wasn't even surprised. Y'all remember that? Fucking Michael Bisping knocks out Luke Rockhold in the first round. Shocks the world. It was kind of like when Nunes knocked out Cyborg. We were like, what the fuck? Bisping took this fight on short notice, lost the first fight. He just knocked him out in the first round. Oh, shit. What just happened? It was kind of like when Cyborg got knocked out in 51 seconds. It blew your mind. But Jason Perillo was in the corner. Didn't blow his mind. He went like this. Just fucking... Like, that's exactly what I thought was about to happen. I told you, when he comes with the left, hit him with the right, boom. And like... It was like he used the exact combination. It's like he's seen it. Like, that was a phenomenal reaction because Jason Perillo was confident in his abilities, and they just pulled off one of the biggest upsets in middleweight history. And he's also Cris Cyborg's boxing coach. And so, Cyborg getting knocked out in 51 seconds, I mean, that doesn't go all back on Jason Perillo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he needs to be defensive about that if anyone's questioning him. Like, so, you're supposed to be this great boxing coach. What happened to Cyborg? Like any trolls out there, right? He's shown what he's capable of. He's shown how good he is of a boxing coach. And I don't doubt Jason Perillo's skills because Cyborg got caught. Now, yeah, maybe, but she might be a better boxer than Amanda Nunes, but that don't mean she'll win the fight every time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if she would have been a little more patient with her boxing in this fight, she should have, or could have, would have, should have, could have, would have. Maybe she could have won. She should have, used her jab more. For sure. But she got knocked down in 51 seconds, and that was only 3 seconds longer than Ronda Rousey, who allegedly was just trash, right? No head movement. Okay, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. But this is what Jason Perlow recently had to say, speaking with MMA Junkie. He said, I saw Cris go out there and beat herself. I've said it in many interviews before. It was always my biggest concern, which is just going for broke. Her losing the plot and swinging wild. Just going back to the old school Cyborg. He said, because I told her, the higher we climb the ladder, we're not going to be able to get away with this style. We need to think a little bit more and stay behind the jab. I know Cris. I know my fighter. I saw the way she reacted to that leg kick when it hit her. Boom. That was a big factor. It wasn't just the boxing. It was that leg kick was a big factor. Instead of moving out and staying behind her jab, she went for broke and off the get-go and got caught doing it. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to say he kind of exposed something about Cyborg here. Because I've always been one of the people Cyborg's definitely one of the greatest female fighters of all time, but there's not much competition out there. Even the legit featherweights, Megan Anderson, people expect Cyborg to smoke her. There's not much competition out there for her. We know she hasn't had to fight the toughest competition in the UFC because there's not any. So unless Cyborg was just beating world-class fighters outside the UFC, which just doesn't make much sense because outside the UFC has the best fighters, the world-class fighters, right? But okay, maybe for female featherweights, since there's no division, there's some female featherweights out there that are just not getting talked about enough, and there's some Cyborgs of other divisions we don't know about, and she was somewhere else just scrapping legit competition, right? Like the Demetrius Johnsons of women's MMA or something that we don't know about. Because I pulled up Cyborg's resume, and it's not the greatest competition. Even one of the girls she beat in Invicta was 9-2. Before she fought Cyborg, she was fighting 50-50, 500 record fighters. And what he just said here kind of makes me question the past. The past is where I thought was her bread and butter. It's okay, she hasn't fought the toughest competition in the UFC. But in the past, that's where she built her legacy when none of us were watching. That's when she was beating the killers. I mean, But he said, I told her, the higher we climb the ladder, we're not going to be able to get away with this style. So he said right here, Cyborg has been swinging wild before this in her career. Not before this exact moment. But in the past, Cyborg used to just swing wild. That's why he said, as we move up the ladder, we're not going to be able to just swing wild. So you're telling me up until the UFC, she was just swinging wild? So then, she was still the greatest fighter of all time, but was she just swinging wild back then? I thought she's been the most technical, best fighter ever, forever. So was she swinging wild back then? Do I need to go back and I didn't watch Cyborg's fights before the UFC. I didn't know about her much before the UFC. I'm taking Cyborg Nation's word for it. But her coach just said she's not going to be able to keep swinging wild. So wait, is Cyborg just swinging wild out here? Is that what you just said? Or did that? Maybe not. But he said, because I told her, the higher we climb the ladder, we're not going to be able to get away with this style. We need to think a little bit more and stay behind the jab. So it sounds like she fought her normal style and got caught, and maybe she got overzealous, whatever. The leg kick threw her off bounds. But yeah, that's just something, a red flag that got threw up for me. What? She's not going to be able to keep swinging wild? Are you saying that she just used to swing wild in her fights? Are you talking about the beginning of her career? This sounds like a recent conversation. The higher we climb the ladder, we can't get away with this. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like a recent conversation. That would definitely never work against Amanda Nunes swinging wild. You know what I'm saying? That's something that wouldn't work against Valentina Shevchenko. Could you imagine a strawweight or a bantamweight that was just swinging wild at Valentina Shevchenko? What? What? You're not getting away with that. So that's interesting. to hear Cyborg's boxing coach talk about, you know, that leading up to this point, at some point, she was just swinging wild. You know, but that goes to say she hasn't fought the highest level competition. But girls don't want to fight her because she did bring the power, and, you know, Megan Anderson said it was just like the invincibility. Was Cyborg somebody who was like just the hype? The story? No. I'm not going to. No. It wasn't the hype. But there's a lot of hype, though. You know, because when you think about Cyborg, you're not thinking about her going out there and fucking... What Jessica Andrade is doing at strawweight? Ragdolling girls, slamming the best fucking grapplers, knocking bitches out in one punch. She's doing shit that you would think Cyborg is doing, right? Some girls get thrown around like a fucking ragdoll. Some girls get knocked out. Some girls just get dominated. Like, right? Against legit competition. That's the type of shit Jessica Andrade is doing. But Cyborg, you know, some girls make it to a decision. You know, some girls, like Holly Holm. See, Cyborg went out there right against Holly Holm. She didn't swing wild. She probably fought a little smarter fight. But that wasn't a great fight. You know, she won the fight unanimously. But is that where she's staying behind her jab and picking apart? Because that wasn't super dominant. She won the fight decisively, but it wasn't dominant. It wasn't like Holly Holm had absolutely no chance, was never coming forward, never threw a punch. Just in there timid. So that's interesting, man. But boy, it ain't look. But that definitely that confused me. He said, you know, going for broke, losing the plot, swinging wild, going back to old school Cyborg. So, like I said, according to Jason Perillo's words, old school Cyborg just went for broke and was swinging wildly. That was old school Cyborg, just swinging wildly. New school Cyborg fought bad competition in the UFC. So, where is GOAT Cyborg? I hate that. I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I rock with Cyborg Nation. I fucks with Cyborg Nation. But I'm just saying, when you put it that way, old school Cyborg used to swing wild and go for broke. New school Cyborg hasn't had any competition to fight in the UFC. Amanda Nunes isn't somebody I don't know. Maybe that opened up something that I'm honestly, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to fucking do that to Cyborg, but that is an interesting question. Because I was under the impression old school Cyborg, you know, was like the Cyborg that got the legacy and the, oh shit, she's been out here beating up everybody, fucking all the best female fight. Well, I guess there hasn't been great competition at 145, especially at 145. Cyborg can't make 135. So who the fuck was she fighting at 145? None of these girls have, like, you know, made it to the UFC, like, or are just doing crazy things. Fuck, man. Just maybe I'm gonna look up Cyborg on Sherdog, man. And this is not like, I like Cyborg. I'm a fan of Cyborg. She's still better than 90% of these girls, but this is interesting because I've known Cyborg since she was in the UFC, and I was like, okay, we all know she hasn't had to fight the best competition in the UFC because there's not none. All there are bantamweights. So the featherweight legacy came from before the UFC. So who was she fighting before the UFC? Because Coach just said she was swinging wild before, back in the day. What? That threw me off. I thought Cyborg been crisp, been fucking had the cold boxing, been one of the best fighters, been, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know she was just out here brawling and swinging wildly back in the day. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Faith Van Doren. Okay, I pulled up Daria Imbrugimov. That wasn't super, you know what I'm saying? This was the girl that was 9-2 in Invicta, right? You know, it's like, okay. But then, like, you click on who did she fight right before Cyborg? 3-3. You know what I'm saying? So these girls aren't killers. Maybe Faith Van Doren is. I don't know. 6-3. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was what? 1, 2, 3, 4. What the fuck? No, whoa, we're going way the fuck. What the fuck? You know what I just thought about? I can't let this shit slide. Not after the shit Kayla Harrison gets. No! What? We might have just fucking... Yo, I was trying to get off this topic ASAP. I wasn't trying to go here. What? Are we talking... Kayla Harrison gets fucking heat for her first... She didn't fight a fighter that was fucking 12-0 in her first pro fight, so she gets shit? Brittany Elkins was only 3-4. What? What was Cyborg when she fought Daria and Brugimov? What the fuck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. She's 14-1 and fighting this chick that's beating girls that are fucking 3-3? You're 14-1 still fighting cans? I've never looked into this, guys. Are people talking shit about fucking Kayla Harrison when Cyborg was fighting cans at 14-1? I don't call fighters cans. But boy, goddamn. If you're fighting fighters that are 3-3 building up your record, 2 and you're 7-2 fighting a girl that's 2-0. You're 8-2 fighting a girl that's 3-3, and then you fight Cyborg. Good luck. What? This girl was fucking 4-2 when she fought Cyborg, who was 13-1. You want to talk about mismatches? Where the fuck? Please, stop me when I get to a GOAT. Who the fuck is Fiona Muxlow? What? Oh, there's Gina Carano. She was in a movie. She was fighting in Elite XC before she fought Cyborg. 20 out of the 30 people in this fucking chat don't know what Elite XC is. What? We're gonna give Kayla Harrison shit? She fought a girl that was 8-2 in her second pro fight. What? Okay. Okay, I see what we're doing here. So Cyborg is just the biggest, scariest female out there because she's knocking girls out. Even though they're not on her level, it's like, damn, she still might knock me out. People don't want to fight Cyborg because they might get knocked out. They've got a chance. Do you realize Kayla Harrison would... I'm sorry, guys. She would fucking smoke... Man. What? You guys think Kayla Harrison has no chance against fucking Cyborg? Are you kidding me? Bantamweight's in the UFC, and before the UFC, it was fucking Pepsi, Fanta, and motherfucking Mountain Dew. This was not a good look. Amanda Nunes, you should have let her last 3 seconds longer than fucking Ronda Rousey. What's going on here? And I never said nothing about no damn steroids. I'm talking resume right now. Kayla Harrison's resume is kicking ass right now. And they talk shit about it. Dominating every fucking fight right now, and they hate on her. Her first 3 fights. Her first opponent, 3-4. Second opponent, 8-2. Next opponent, 3-4? 7 pro fights. 10 pro fights. 7 pro fights. Her first 3 fights, she's fighting against experience. Fuck the record. She's fighting against experience. Cyborg's first few fights, she's fighting fucking 0-1s. What are we doing? This girl's 0-1. This girl never fought no one in her life, and they put her in there with fucking Cyborg. Yeah, it was back... Cyborg was at the beginning of her career. Kayla Harrison's at the beginning of her career. So we're not holding her at the same standards there. No one was thinking about how much pay-per-views did Cyborg sell, or how many people watched her third pro fight. Kayla Harrison only got 200,000 people watching her fight. It's her third fight! Nobody should be watching it. No one should give a shit. The fact that they do is because she's a fucking future star, clearly. Nobody watches people's third pro fight. We did that before. Jon Jones, Cain Velasquez, Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, Cris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko. Nobody watched their third pro fight. Except for their fucking coaches, and they probably had coaching changes since then. Their family members probably seen that shit. Maybe. If it was televised. And if not, they might have went and seen the replay. And that's still what the fuck? I need someone to lay it down for me. Is it Jan Finney? Maybe it was Is it Jan Finney? Someone in the chat. I need this. Where were the legit 145ers or the people that Cyborg built her resume up on as the greatest female fighter of all time? Because none of this shit stacks up to Amanda Nunes. If people would have looked at this... I've never did a deep dive on Cyborg. I really haven't. Because I'm not a Cyborg hater. Or like a super fan. But boy. Maybe Charmaine Tweet. Charmaine Tweet, I've heard that name. She's 9-6. When she fought Cyborg, she was 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come the fuck on, man. This is actually not depressed. This is actually disappointing. Even a girl I've heard of, Charmaine Tweet, she was 6-4 when she fought fucking Cyborg, bro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cyborg was 12-1. She fought a girl that was 6-4. Can you guys just not ever say fucking Kayla Harrison's name again? If you're going to champion Cyborg? I'm telling you right now, Amanda Nunes would fucking smoke Cyborg in the rematch. And I've got the facts now to fucking back it up. I've got the facts to back it up. Kayla Harrison would fucking cream Cyborg in 2020. And she's got a chance at the end of 2019. I can't believe people gave me any shit for this. What? You guys act like Cyborg beat fucking Jon Jones or something. She's beat fucking nobody. Except for bantamweights in the UFC. And she got cleaned up in 51 seconds when she fought a bantamweight that was actually had fought at featherweight, I guess. Because Nunes is the bantamweight champion, but she still fought at featherweight. Ronda Rousey got all that shit. And this girl lasted 3 fucking seconds longer. And, like I said, people act like there's Jon Jones, Daniel Cormier, and Brock Lesnar on this girl's resume. She's got fucking Daria Imbragimova. 6-4 Charmaine Tweet. Who's Fiona Muxlow? This is one I haven't heard of. She fought her coming off of a loss. Man, y'all better get the fuck out of here. Y'all better get the fuck out of here. I need... What? And it wouldn't be this bad if people weren't hating on Kayla Harrison at every fucking turn. Moving the goalpost every fight. The first fight they said, oh, she fought a girl that was only 3-4. Then she beat a girl that's 8-2. Oh, but she didn't have no ground game. What the fuck? Do you want Kayla Harrison to fight Jon Jones? Cyborg's coach just said she used to just fucking brawl and let her hands go. And that wouldn't work at the top level. She tried to do that shit at the top level and got knocked out in 51 seconds. What the fuck are you guys seeing that I'm missing? Let me pull up the chat so I can look at these fucking names you guys are telling me about. Bob Cratchit says Gina Carano had already hung up the gloves. They dragged her back to fight Cyborg. She was already filming movies. I didn't know that. I figured she fought prime Gina Carano. Come on, full-time. You know Fiona. Fiona. Let me find Fiona on here because I ain't seen a Fiona. Fiona Muxlow? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Fiona Muxlow. I don't. She's 41. She fought Cyborg in 2013, so she was like 33. So Cyborg, how old is Cyborg? Cyborg was like 24. She beat this girl's ass. This girl was coming off a loss. to Marlos Conan. Who had she beat? Oh my shit. Oh my shit. Look who... You said I know Fiona? I didn't. Look who Fiona beat, bro. Someone that had never got a win. Someone that had never got a win. Fiona beat this girl in her debut. Fiona never beat a fighter with a win. And she fought Cyborg. This is who Cyborg was fighting, you guys. I've never looked into it like this. Never have. But if you're going to give Kayla Harrison shit, you should have looked into all of this already. What? We know in the UFC there was no featherweight division. Bantamweight, bantamweight, bantamweight. We get that. And a lot of them were short notice because the UFC needed a main event. Hey, Tanya Evinger, if you want in the UFC, you better come fucking fight Cyborg. Short notice and all that. Well, I guess I have wanted to get in the UFC forever. I guess I'll fight Cyborg. I'm the Invicta Bantamweight champion. I'm just saying, on the surface, all the way up until her UFC debut, you can question these people's skills. And it's WMMA. WMMA is new. That's why Tatiana Suarez is so dangerous. That's why Kayla Harrison is so fucking dangerous. That's why Cyborg is dangerous. Because WMMA is new to this shit. But Coach Jason Perillo just told you, Cyborg used to just brawl out here. She was a brawler. She wasn't no technical fucking ace. Right here. I've said it in many interviews before. It was always my biggest concern. He said it was always his biggest concern. He's had this concern for a long time. This is a boxing coach that has been watching Cyborg striking going, whoa, you can't do that at the top level. So you're telling me a boxing coach has been looking at Cyborg saying that her striking, she can't do that at the highest level. That was before the UFC, and in the UFC it's been bantamweights. I'm sorry. That resume has a little bit of holes in it. Still extremely impressive because you've been knocking girls out, but they're not on your level. It's Cyborg feedings. But still, you can't give Kayla Harrison no shit. Because Cris Cyborg is still one of the greatest female fighters of all time. All of that being said. I mean, if you go back and you wanted to dissect some of the greats, Fedor, the Randy Coutures, the sport had to evolve. So there wasn't a legacy or a resume to be built. The reason GSP is so great because he beat so many former UFC champions in his run. He beat so many former welterweight champions. If you look at the numbers, in 10 fucking title fights, he beat like 8 former world champions. And that's what's so impressive for GSP. But before that, when there wasn't as many, before belts, when Randy Couture became the champion and there wasn't 10 fucking champions, a lot of the guys he beat that he was able to fucking smash, it doesn't take away from his greatness because he was the greatest of all time at that time. But does that mean Randy Couture of his prime would have been able to beat fucking Stipe Miocic today if they were in their prime? No, because the sport evolves. It's the same difference of could fucking LeBron James beat Michael Jordan? The game evolves. You would imagine the players get better. They're supposed to get better. You know why fucking who's the greatest fighter of all time right now? You would say Daniel Cormier? It's because the sport has evolved. That's why the greats are of today. And in the future, fighters are going to get better. In the future, when all fighters are coming up from fucking 3 years old training MMA because it's that big of a sport, when MMA is in the fucking Olympics or MMA, you know, there's going to be even better fighters. And so, it's not Cyborg's fault she wasn't fighting the highest level competition in her career. There wasn't much competition. Because WMMA is a lot newer than men's MMA. There wasn't as much competition. But it doesn't change the fact that she wasn't fighting high-level competition. Yeah, she was beating everybody. Because she was great and greater than all of them. But she wasn't beating high-level competition because there were no female fighters like Cyborg. She was just one of the first that took MMA seriously. A lot of these girls just trained with their fucking boyfriends probably and took some pro fights. Didn't have no real wins. They didn't take WMMA seriously. Probably got families and all type of shit. Good-ass cooks, all type of shit. They just fight for the competition aspect. They weren't fighting to be UFC champion, GOATs, legacy, none of that. But that's just where the sport was. So yes, Cyborg was the greatest of all time, but her skills will not translate to beating Amanda Nunes unless she knocks her out. Cyborg's the one with the puncher's chance against Nunes. It's not vice versa. Cyborg's going to have to knock Amanda Nunes out. I mean, honestly, when have we seen Cyborg just completely dominate a chick with her grappling? I'm talking MMA. I'm talking mixed martial arts. I'm not talking standing up and banging and striking with chicks. And even her stand-up, her coach just said, hasn't been all the way there for a long time. He said it was always my biggest concern. Her just going for broke, losing the plot and swinging wild and going back to old school Cyborg. Old school Cyborg was just a brawler? What? Because new school Cyborg ain't been fighting high-level competition. So, when did she have a chance against Amanda Nunes? Wow. I didn't know we were going there with this show, you guys. But yeah, Coach Perillo said that's always been his biggest concern. Old school Cyborg, the brawler. He said the higher we climb the ladder, we're not going to be able to get away with this style. The higher the competition, we can't keep doing this to everybody. We can knock out these fucking soccer moms and these chicks, these bantamweights a lot of the time. But the higher we climb the ladder, this shit's not going to work. You know who you don't have to worry about that with? Tatiana Suarez. The higher Tatiana Suarez climbs the ladder, her wrestling is always going to work. Her grappling is going to work. Wrestling translates to the highest level. You know what doesn't? Brawling. You can't just be a fucking brawler and fucking beat the highest level competition. You can't do that. And so, just from what Cyborg's boxing coach is saying here, it sounds like she came up as a brawler that was ahead of her time. A brawler that was just better than all these other girls, probably stronger than all these other girls, and so she's able to knock them the fuck out. She probably had better skills than these other girls because these other girls weren't very skilled. It's not like she's going out there and outstriking Wonder Boy. No. It's more like going out there and fucking outstriking insert non-UFC level fighter here. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's not Cyborg's fault, but her resume is actually not very impressive. And, yeah, the wins and the knockouts are, but the names aren't. And it's not her fault because there weren't names to build your legacy off of. I mean, unless you beat Amanda Nunes in the past and you beat fucking Raquel Pennington in the past and you fucking beat, you know, these girls that made it to the UFC, the bantamweights that made it to the UFC and used to fight featherweight, unless they're on your resume, it doesn't shake off too well. Because, yeah, Cyborg gets a little pass because there's not super high-level competition out there for her. But if you look at Amanda Nunes' resume, it's actually impressive. All the way. Like, if you look at Amanda Nunes' resume, it's actually like she wasn't fighting cans, Pepsi Colas. Cyborg, Raquel Pennington, out in the UFC, legit competition because she's a bantamweight. Valentina Shevchenko, twice. Just beating Valentina Shevchenko twice is more impressive, arguably, than any of the names on Cyborg's resume. Rousey, Tate, Sarah McMahon, who had great wrestling. You know, if there was a Sarah McMahon, any of these girls on Cyborg's resume, it's like something we can go back to. I mean, Shayna Baszler, What was this, her second fight in the UFC? She still had a winning record, but when she fought Amanda Nunes, she was in the UFC, but still. Shayna Baszler, she's one of the 4 horsewomen with Ronda Rousey over there. But look at Shayna Baszler. This is what we did with Cyborg. When you click on who she fought, look who she was fighting. Alexis Davis, Sarah Kaufman, Cris Cyborg, Roxanne Modafferi, Julie Kedzie. Like, it's actually competition you've heard of, not girls that are 2-2. Jermaine Durandamy. Let's go outside of this. Julia Budd, Alexis Davis, Vanessa Porto. She lost to Alexis Davis. Alexis Davis, you see? She's at 125 now, but even if she fought, I mean, and some of these girls probably didn't fight at featherweight, so like I said, Cyborg can't fight those girls. Because some of these girls didn't go up to featherweight. But with that being said, whether it's Cyborg's fault or not, she hasn't fought the highest level competition because it's not there. So to think she's going to just beat every single female on the planet now and forever is asinine. To think that Kayla Harrison has no chance training with the American Top Team is delusional. It's delusional. Now, we went on that. We don't got much more to talk about. I mean, coach updating Cyborg status with the UFC. Same coach. He wants to see her stay with the UFC. She is a free agent. Going to be after her next fight or before a certain time. March or April, I think she becomes a free agent if she doesn't book another fight. So if she resigns with the UFC, that'd be interesting. Cyborg could be looking at Bellator. That might be better for her. You could be a champion. You can get sponsors, lower level competition as long as Amanda Nunes is around there. But I tell you what, if Cyborg does leave, it'll look like she's running from Amanda Nunes. A little bit. You sure you don't want that belt back? But that's something. But to be fair, Amanda Nunes and the UFC, they're playing hardball. You know what I'm saying? They're saying she's not going to get an immediate rematch. So I guess if you're Cyborg, you know what I'm saying? What do you really do? Jason Humphrey said, not Cyborg's fault there wasn't better competition. Yeah, it's not her fault, but I'm just saying, like, to act like that's 100% true. It's not Cyborg's fault. She's a pioneer. She was the greatest female fighter of her time. But to act like she's going to beat every single buddy she ever fights because of that is wrong. To think that Amanda Nunes stood no chance is wrong, asinine. It's no. Amanda Nunes has fought higher level competition throughout her career, so she definitely has a chance. Kayla Harrison even, training with the American Top Team. If you look at the girls on Cyborg's resume we just looked at, none of them trained at American Top Team for as long as Kayla Harrison has now. None of them were as skilled as the girls that trained at American Top Team. On top of the judo skills, on top of training with Amanda Nunes, all these girls, so yeah, that's just delusional to me. To think that Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes couldn't beat Cyborg, I think you're overrating Cyborg a little. Look what y'all did to Full Time. My dude's cooking up, says I'm him. I didn't want to cook on her like that, man. I didn't know it was happening like that. That came from the Harrison hate. I'm not a Cyborg hater. I never once mentioned a failed drug test, nothing like that. That was all resume and skills. That was what her coach said. I didn't say one fucking word about PEDs. None. Because I'm not a Cyborg hater. But to think that Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison have no chance against Cyborg is delusional. You're not looking at the facts and you're not looking at the skills. Jay Skills says, how about UFC 235 being so stacked? That card is stacked. I mean, you got 2 title fights, 3 former champions. Yeah, that's a good card. That's going to be nice. UFC 235, is that in Brazil? Jessica Andrade? Don't get me started on my girl Jessica Andrade. She's a beast. Cadbury Hardware says, I'm thinking steroids is like M&M's, how Full Time's homie gets suspended. Yo, Sean O'Malley, he must have been breathing around Jon Jones or something. Maybe he was I don't know. Maybe he walked. I know what happened. Sean O'Malley, he just went to the fucking, local mall. He went to the mall, walked past the GMC, and it fucking, the air coming out of the store put the picograms there. Like, you can breathe the shit in. Like, Like I said, I'm surprised fighters aren't popping left and right if you can ingest this shit through the air. You touch the wrong thing, you can get a picogram through your skin cells. Given your name says O'Malley caught that picogram. Yo, he caught it. Why couldn't we get that whole fucking card moved for O'Malley, though? You know, if we all this fucking science on pico, you guys got to go check out that video from the Mixed Molly Whoppery. He lays it out there for you, breaks it down. I seen it coming. Nunes beating Cyborg. All the points you touched on full-time MMA are valid. Yeah, I'm not hating. I'll bring the facts. And if you think I'm not going to bring these facts, the next time we have a Cyborg-Harrison debate, you're wrong. Man, me and Coach had a good Cyborg-Harrison debate, and this was before Cyborg got knocked out in 51 seconds. That's not a debate you want to have in 2019, especially now with big full-time. The Kayla Harrison versus Cyborg debate is over. Amanda Nunes ended that conversation. And then, oh yeah, it's over. It is over. Free O'Malley. That's what I'm saying. Free O'Malley. Marcus Bell, I agree with American Top Team creating killers over there. Even Nina Ansaroff is trying to do something. 100%. That's why I didn't never counter out against Claudia Gadea. Because I know what the fuck American Top Team does to fighters. They're one of the best fight teams in the world. A lot of fighters don't have access to that. That is a benefit. That is a tool. That is not a drug, but it enhances your performance. American Top Team is a performance-enhancing camp in the sense that if you fight there, you get better. They have so many killers to train with, so many great coaches, the capital, whatever, like to make sure you're eating the right foods and doing the right shit, taking the right supplements. You are going to be a better fighter fighting at American Top Team. Literally, Nina Ansaroff, I mean, Amanda Nunes said it. And I don't know if she's ever going to be the strawweight champion because you got Tatiana Suarez up there, Jessica Andrade up there. But boy, she's coming up. She's coming to challenge for the title. Nina Ansaroff will be fighting for that title. And she'll put up a fucking fight. Is she going to win the title? I don't see that. But she's one of the top 5 strawweights in the world right now. American Top Team, Amanda Nunes, Dean Thomas. So, Ken Murphy says, was that not the weed? Oh, no. Yeah, my boy, let's see. He's been suspended for a bit. Trace him out from an unknown source. Ken Murphy says, O'Malley got caught for what? I missed this one. Yeah, Sean O'Malley got popped for, I think it was the same thing as Jon Jones, I believe. Like, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull up the exact details. I'm pretty sure it was a trace amount. And they said, even USADA and the UFC and Jeff Novinsky, they said that they don't think Sean O'Malley was intentionally cheating. They said that it was a trace amount, wouldn't enhance your performance. It wasn't even in competition. This one wasn't even in competition. Jon Jones was right before a fucking fight. Like, it's one thing if Jon Jones fails a drug test out of competition. Oh, there's something going on here. We're going to get it figured out. Right before a fight? And now you guys are saying you can potentially just fucking ingest this shit through the air? It can come through a caffeine supplement? This is, yo, if you're a fighter, good fucking luck, bro. Sean O'Malley. But yeah, no, Sean O'Malley was getting surgery anyway. So it the timeline didn't matter because he was getting surgery anyway. 6-month NSAC suspension. So Sean O'Malley got a 6-month suspension, but they were working with him trying to test the caffeine pills and shit because they didn't believe he was really cheating. They believe it was trace elements, contaminated supplement, all that shit, but he didn't get cleared. And so, with that being said, if we're gonna let motherfuckers fight for titles, and they're popping right before their fight, why are we ruining people's careers for trace elements? Sean O'Malley was nobody that had ever even been thought of with the steroid. Nobody looked at Sean O'Malley and said, oh, he fails the fucking eye test. No one looked at Sean O'Malley and said, oh my God, how's he knocking all these people out in the UFC? No one looked at Sean O'Malley and said, how's he beating the fucking system? He's cheating. No one. The people that hated on Sean O'Malley, they hated on his fucking look or the fact that he smoked weed openly. Like, they hated on him for other reasons. The fact that they thought he was cocky, it wasn't because of steroids. None of his haters even said he was on fucking steroids. So we're going to, now he fails a drug test for performance-enhancing drugs. We're going to put that out in the air. He can't fight. Biggest fight of his life on the Khabib versus Conor McGregor card. We're going to take that fight from him, put this fucking drug rap on him because what are you going to do, not admit it? Sean O'Malley was one of the first fighters, the only fighters that came out and said, hey, because USADA just changed their policy to where they're not going to announce it for fighters. And my guess, it had something to do with Jon Jones. Because USADA just came up out of nowhere and changed their policy one day. Like, hey, by the way, we're not going to publicly announce whenever fighters get failed drug test anymore. That came out of nowhere. Like, you've ruined hella fighters' reputations. Well, what, you care now? What about Junior Dos Santos, Anderson Silva, all these people that you guys flagged publicly and then came back they were innocent? I never heard people talk to the UFC or USADA saying, yeah, it's fucked up what happens to these guys and their reputations. There was never no fucking changing of the guard, changing of the rules for these dudes. And then out of nowhere, we're not going to tell you guys when people fail drug tests anymore. We're going to let it work out and play out. What? There's a lot of bullshit going on, man. That's why I don't even think I should be on YouTube like that. You know, just talking. This is shit you talk about with your boys. This ain't shit you put out in the public. You know, the questions that you have and shit. Because there was a video that came out. Yoel Romero posted on Twitter. He was like, what is this? It was a video of fucking one of Paulo Costa's little snitch-ass homeboys. Whoever did it's definitely a bitch. The dude recording was a whole bitch. He was sitting there recording secretly, acting like he was on Twitter or something, recording Paulo Costa getting the IV. And then there was a caption that was like, who says they don't cheat? Or who says they don't take anything? Paulo Costa, who has been failing everybody's eye test. Even people who don't accuse people of being on steroids are like, there's something going on with that guy. He looks like a fucking Greek Brazilian god. Paulo Costa, you know, everyone has talked about that. So a video comes out of this motherfucker getting an IV, which is illegal. It ain't like he was a video of him shooting steroids. It was an IV. But IVs are illegal. If you take an IV, you get flagged. Because people can use IVs to mask steroids. But we're not publicly flagging anybody anymore. So now that Paulo Costa gets pulled out of his fight, and they say it's with an injury, is that what's going on here? Because if USADA got flagged, if Paulo Costa got flagged, we'll never know, right? Until the very end, when he already served his... So when are we going to find out now? Unless somebody comes out like Sean O'Malley and admits it themselves. When do we find out? If Jon Jones or Paulo Costa or anybody, when do we find out? Or who's somebody that the UFC likes? You know, one of their favorite fighters. Sage Northcutt's not with the UFC anymore, but if it happened with Sage, would we have knew? I don't know, man. But someone like Sean O'Malley, I guess it's fuck them, right? They lose the biggest fight of their life. They get a fucking steroid rap. And it could have just been they could have just ingested it through walking through the mall. Like, it could have been airborne. Yeah, man. This whole contaminated supplement shit is honestly, it feels like bullshit, but what do you do? Bubba G says, yeah, for sure, anytime fighter gets pulled, we can say it was the juice. Yeah, and that's not a good thing. That don't help. If you're worried about a fighter's reputation, that don't help. Because now anytime a fighter gets pulled, people are going to assume it's the juice. Anytime. Even if it's an injury, you're going to have to literally start posting a picture of yourself in surgery. If Paulo Costa ever gets injured, people are probably going to assume, oh, he was using. If if Jon Jones gets an injury, people are going to assume he got flagged. And so it's like, you're not really saving the reputation because people are still going to assume what they want to anyway. We have video provided by champion Jon Jones that clearly shows Paulo Costa taking undisclosed pills. The defense rests your case, Your Honor, says Cadbury Hardwell. Costa looks like light heavyweight at middleweight. Yeah, and other fighters shared the video. Like, what the fuck is this? And it was Paulo Costa. Now it's hard to find the video. It's taken off of Twitter and shit. You would have to do your Googles to really find that video of Paulo Costa now. But now he's out of his fight with Yoel Romero with an injury. And it's not fair to assume it's steroids if they say it's an injury, even though you saw the video and he's out of his fight. What the fuck? Jay Skill says, just like they gave Nick Diaz 4 years for being dirty on weed, that was some bullshit. 100, yeah. Nick Diaz 4 years for weed. Sean O'Malley, no one thinks he's on fucking steroids, but he gets flagged. We know that the steroid test, clearly, there's something wrong with him. Either you're testing too good, and you're getting shit that people shouldn't be popping for, so you're still letting people fight like Jon Jones, or when you clear Anderson Silva, all of this. I don't understand how Sean O'Malley couldn't get fucking cleared. Nobody thinks he's on steroids. Everyone thinks it's contaminated supplements, including Jeff Novinsky in the UFC. But we can't get no fucking benefit of the doubt. We don't think he was cheating. Fucking. We never found the supplement. Oh, we never found the supplement for Jon Jones either, though. He gave you guys 14 fucking things to test, and none of them were contaminated. So, yeah, it was trace amount. So, yeah, it's I don't know. It's not something that I really am putting too much faith in at this point. You know, I was rocking with USADA because they always did their best to keep their credibility intact and shit like that. But, man, as of right now, I'm real iffy on these dudes. Cadbury Hardware says they're posting themselves in surgery now because they got tired of lying stories saying they were scared and other made-up stories. Yeah, it's like if you don't post a picture of yourself in surgery, people are either going to say you're scared or you failed a fucking drug test. But you know what's crazy? Fighters are going to take this shit to a new level, bro. Be careful what box we're opening here. Check this out. Fucking my bro, like one of my best friends who I'm probably going to UFC Wichita with, his wife, she fucking does really good Halloween makeup design shit. Have you ever seen somebody at a Halloween party or something and it actually looks like they're bleeding on their face or it actually looks like they have an open wound? She's so good at that shit, bro. It will look real. So what I'm saying is, and this is just, he would have to be next level. What if Paulo Costa met my homie's girl? For one, hide your wives. You don't want your girl to meet him. But if he went to she could hook him up. And you know what I'm saying? You guys see my fucking arm. Yeah, I'm going in for surgery. It could happen. That shit can look real. If he really wanted to die with the lie. Cadbury Hardware says R.I.P. Big Rig. They're posting. Oh, I already read that one. After he fought Anderson, wild high as a kite. Whichever state that was made a 4-year ruling, and then other states honor it. Yeah, and the other states honor it. Yeah, that's bullshit. You'll suspend somebody for years for marijuana. People that you don't think, they get 6 month suspensions, reputation, credibility fucking ruined. People that you think are cheating just get to fly. Mackenzie Dern, foregoing her move to the flyweight division, she's remaining at strawweight. I mean, and that's wise, as long as you can make it. I mean, if you're a fighter that's not coming in here training at American Top Team or some shit like that, and if you don't have the skills of an American Nunes, if you're not a fighter, like Dean Thomas says, there's artists, there's fighters, there's athletes, and there's competitors. Mackenzie Dern is art. Not an artist. She's art. Have you seen her? Have you seen Mackenzie Dern? She's art. No. She's, I would say, a competitor. I don't look at her as someone that's fighting because she has to, embrace the grind, the tough, the grit. Yeah, she's tough, but she's a competitor. You know what I'm saying? She's, if she goes up to flyweight where there's girls that are oversized, she's not going to have a great time. Kind of like Paige Van Zandt. Yeah, she can beat up some girls, right? She can definitely beat up some girls, but she's not a champion. You know what I'm saying? And to be a champion, it would probably take training with the American Top Team. That's what it would take. But other than that, you're a pretty face. You look really good. You're marketable. You're going to get sponsors. You're going to get Instagram followers. You're going to make these fucking... You're going to make dudes, you know what I'm saying? And that's a majority of the audience. So you need girls like Mackenzie Dern. But I'm saying, if you want to fucking fight at the highest level, you're probably going to need a little bit of a weight advantage. Now, not fucking 7 pounds. You're going to have to make the weight, but flyweight is going to be tough. We've seen it with Paige Van Zandt. She was having a tough weight cut and tough fights. Down in strawweight, she moved up, still didn't quite cut the mustard. Lost to Jessica Rose Clark. Now she's relegated to fucking flyweight because there's no more cutting down to 115 for Paige Van Zandt. She couldn't make the weight. Now she's got breast implants, makes it that much harder. You got like 3-4 more pounds to cut. Nope, not happening. So all that's left for Paige Van Zandt is 115. Is 125. Mackenzie Dern, she flirted with the idea. Lucky idea. She flirted with the idea that of going up to 125 because she missed weight. She got a lot of shit for it. But as of right now, they're going to try and keep it at 115. You know, get the proper nutritionist, a little more discipline, and she could probably make 115. She's made it in the past, but she's also missed weight more than once. She's missed weight 3 times in her young career. So a lot of people assume she would jump up. Wednesday afternoon, MMA Fighting confirmed the initial report on ESPN that Dern would not be moving to the 125-pound division in favor of remaining at strawweight. So she's going to be staying at strawweight. And this might be another time to talk about the titty clause. I said they should let some of these girls come in here. And you know how DC pressed on the towel a little bit? You got to let some of these girls who have titties set their titties on the towel. Because that should not count against their fight weight. They're not hitting chicks with their titties. That don't help them in the fight at all. That's weight against them. If you got 4 pounds of titties, that's 4 extra pounds you got to cut. You know what I'm saying? Same with ass. And you know, for heavyweights, you know, I was going to say same for dudes. If you're a flyweight and you got a monster cock, 5-pounder, sucks to be you. You know what I'm saying? But that's a little more rare. Francis Ngannou, he's a heavyweight. He's got weight allowances. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a whole 40 pounds to work with. But we need a titty clause. And you know what I'm saying? I think that would make it a little more even. Mackenzie Dern, like when she missed weight by 7 pounds, maybe that 7 pounds wouldn't have been there. You still got to cut a little more weight. But I'm just saying, it's going to be a tough weight cut. She's gonna need a lot more discipline. Clearly, that's part of the reason some people felt like she left her last camp. You know, they talked about how in her camp it wasn't a disciplinary thing. It wasn't like, oh, Mackenzie Dern doesn't have enough discipline to train with us. They were kind of looking out for Mackenzie Dern and saying, Mackenzie Dern, you know, she's here sometimes, but sometimes she's there. And in order for her to be the best fighter she can be, she needs to be in one place. She needs to focus on her training. She doesn't need to be worried about coming back here and training and then training some up here. So they had Mackenzie Dern leave the gym at the training lab. And so if she's with one fight team, if she's got a little more stability, better nutritionist, I think she can make 115. I probably need to be on some steroids or something, but that shit's expensive, says Given Sure Name. Hey, I'm with you. Some testosterone or some shit. I'm sure my doctor would recommend it if I had fucking health insurance. Full-time out here solo working the MMA beat. Props, fam. Yo, appreciate it. Actually, I'm about to get to work in a... Ooh, what time is it? It's 1. I got to leave in like an hour. I got to cut this show short, guys. We've already been going for 2 hours. We got to go. All right, Michelle Waterson fighting Karolina Kowalkiewicz on ESPN2. That's a big fight coming up. ESPN +1, you got Paige Van Zandt versus Michelle Waterson. Now we got Michelle Waterson versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Love the fight. 2 top-ranked strawweights here, actually. Michelle Waterson coming off an impressive win over Felice Herrig. Karolina Kowalkiewicz coming off a brutal knockout loss to Jessica Andrade. Looking forward to that fight for sure on ESPN2. Continuing to make good first impressions, putting the more pretty, you know, putting the better looking fighters, you know what I'm saying? Making a good ESPN impression. Paige Van Zandt, Rachel Ostovich, Michelle Waterson, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. They definitely all are on the attractive side of MMA, I would say. Despite retirement, Tito Ortiz planning a rematch with Chael Sonnen. I seen a video Chael Sonnen did calling Tito out. He said, Tito, you're still talking this shit after I made you tap. We all saw it. Chael's letting him have it. I fuck with Chael Sonnen, the GOAT. He said, you tapped. The ref didn't see it, so I fucking let go. And now you're still talking shit. You need me. I will always watch a Chael Sonnen fight, build up, press conference, videos. And if he fights Tito again at Bellator fucking 208, I'm sure that's already passed. That Bellator 237, I watched that shit, okay? If Tito wants smoke with Chael Sonnen, I'll watch the fight. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And if there's no other fights on that night, right? I'll watch it. Tito said Chael started it. He said just like Chuck started it. Recently fought Chuck Liddell. He said Chuck only lasted, 4.5 minutes? He called me out, man. I'm going to stay in retirement. I'm going to stay retired, and I'm going to smash Chael. I'm not going to choke him. I'm not going to submit him. I'm going to smash him. I'll put on a show for every one of the fans. That's what I'm going to do. This guy has a loud mouth. I'm going to shut him up. Like I say, I'm not going to choke him. I'm not going to submit him. I'm going to pummel him for 3 rounds and give him the fans what they want to see. And that's a great fight. I don't know where. I've never fought in Madison Square Garden, so possibly Madison Square Garden. That'll be a first thing. So maybe Chael versus Tito, MSG, Madison Square Garden. Chael Sonnen continuing to headline and co-headline big fucking cards. Brought in Madison Square Garden with who? Fedor last time? Chael the GOAT. I'm going for Michelle based on my simp pick, says Marcus Bell. Hey, sometimes that's all it takes. But yeah, man, that is it for the show, you guys. More MMA gals, larger boobs via implants, says Bob Cratchit, then breast reduction to cut weight. That's what I'm saying. And then, if you did add the titty clause, some fighters who probably want breast implants, but they don't want to get them because it'll hurt their career, like Paige Van Zandt. Clearly, she wanted breast implants because after she moved up a division, she went and got them. She couldn't get those at strawweight. You know why? Because she has to make weight, and she already had a hard time making weight. So if we had a titty clause, maybe she could still fight at strawweight. I'm just saying, it's just an open possibility, just a discussion that, the MMA gods need to have. I'm just saying, Tito is wrong for putting that last Chuck fight on his list to brag about, says Jay Skills. Yeah, man. But with that being said, I got to get out of here, guys, because I got a lot of shit I got to do in this next hour. So I got to get ready for work, get podcasts put on my phone, boom, boom, boom. So thank you guys for coming through. It's been fun. We will be back. And I'll probably have my UFC ESPN Plus 1 predictions out tomorrow, if not the day after, because I'm going to work on those tonight. So salute to the full-time family. It is what it is, man. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button like your middle name is Khabib if you haven't already. And also hit the subscribe button if you are new. It would be much appreciated. Thank you, everybody.